Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mike Armstrong podcast show. And this afternoon, I'm joined by Toni Clarkstone, who is from the Sales Circle. And she's new to business, but not new to sales, been around the sales block for a long time, a top seller on a European basis, a global basis. And we're going to have a little chat about sales, business, pivoting during the lockdown and all those sort of things. So how are you doing today, Toni? You okay?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Yeah, really good, pleased to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Mike. I really enjoy your channel and all the wonderful people that you have on it.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. I'm not sure if you paused first or not, because there seemed to be a bit of a delay between me asking the question and you answered. So I don't know if that paused or whether that was just you were thinking about the answer. But
the signal, when you were talking, it was skipping due to the signal. So I think it's just that the signal's a little bit slow. So hopefully it'll pick up as we go through the conversation.
Yeah, hopefully it won't cause too much of an effect, but we'll have to just fingers crossed and see how it goes then. So, so tell us a little bit about really how lockdown's been for you, and how the idea for the business come about, and what you've been doing sort of to make it all happen during the lockdown.
What a wonderful question, Mike, because it's lockdown for me has been a very probably dramatic but very exciting experience. During the lockdown period, I was going through cancer, so I was having to self-isolate, which was quite difficult, and not being able to see family members. But one of the beauties of it was that it gave me plenty of time to think about what I wanted from my life, what was my values, and what was the legacy I wanted to leave for my children. And I decided that my passion is to teach and my passion is sales. So I decided that I was going to set up a training company that focused on sales.
Yeah.
And once the final operation took place in June, and I was given the all clear and told that I was cancer free, the Sales Circle was born. Yeah, it was awesome news. We had a party over it. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
So the Sales Circle was born from the lockdown, really, and having cancer, and it's created a bit of a movement. In the last 2 weeks, I've created a Facebook group called the Sales Circle, where I offer tips and tricks on sales. I allow my members to market themselves on the page, and we're creating a really beautiful community. Within 2 weeks, we've got over 200 members, and it's going really, really well. I'm providing training for some of the members within the group on a Monday evening at 7 o'clock. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm loving it. I'm really pleased that I made the decision to move forward with the Sales Circle and take that leap of faith, if you like. As a result of joining Intrabiz and meeting, for example, yourself and Daryl and a few of the other tremendous Paul Rees, amazing people, I've managed to surround myself with business experts that will support me, build me up, and take me to another level within my business and within my experience and know-how. And I'm loving it. And I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to come on to your show, because I know that, it is, it's watched, and people really take interest into the people that you have on here. So I'm hoping that, from this experience, we can get more people into the movement, more people into the community of the sales.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's I've had a similar sort of experience during lockdown of creativity and pivoting and doing some different stuff. I've been running a digital marketing agency for a while, but it was getting very, very competitive space. And actually, I only did the digital marketing agency because I used to be in sales for 20, 30, 25 years, whatever. And obviously, all whilst running the digital marketing agency, I'm still in sales as well. So for 30 odd years, I've been in sales. But marketing's getting very, very competitive. But I wanted to learn marketing and add it to my sales skills so I can teach people the whole aspect of bringing customers in through the actual whole process of marketing and sales. And so, I've done that for a while now, but like you, my passion is teaching and educating. So I decided, actually, I've always wanted to become a speaker at some point, to go around the world educating people. So I decided, actually, lockdown was a great time to push the button on that. I started a podcast, etc. And I thought, the world is now knitting together through all these online events and all these sort of great things that are happening. So I thought, like, let's get the podcast and the YouTube going. I've been doing, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, all the usual stuff for a while. And I thought, right, let's go big time on the podcast and the YouTube, and see if you can help as many people as possible. Not just with sales and marketing and those sort of skills, but I'm a big networker, a big social media user, so I'm educating those skills as well. Plus, also, I'm big into personal development and sort of having a healthy mind, a healthy life, and all of that. So I'm combining all of that together, and I've come up with some fantastic formulas. One's a happiness formula, and one's a success formula, which we can cover in a bit more detail maybe if we get the chance later. But yeah, and I want to teach those things as well. So because it's about a 360 holistic look at your life to become successful, not just be good at sales or not just be good at marketing, but be good at relationship building and using technology and creating massive action and efficiency and looking after your health and your well-being and all the things that go into what most people would consider to be a successful life. So yeah, so we've both been on sort of similar journeys. So tell us a little bit about. So obviously, in order to deliver a company offering training, you wouldn't do that unless you had expertise and experience. I know, because I know the things you've got to think about when you want to train and educate other people. You've got to come from a place of experience and wealth of knowledge and all of that. So tell us a little bit about your background and what led you up to the point where you knew that you were able to go and impact other people and educate them in the sales and the art of sales and stuff.
Yeah, so I've been in sales for over 20 years. So and I started out at Lloyds TSB Bank. Started there in my teens, and they paid for all my qualifications. It was an apprenticeship program, and I became a manager at 20, running their call centre by the age of 24. And what they did was they put me on a course to become a trainer, and I successfully completed that course and was delivering training for Lloyds TSB on a regular basis. And all new starters would come through myself, and we'd go through a new starter development program, which was designed and created by myself within the bank. And then I wanted to upscale, so they put me through a training course so that I could train trainers to be able to do the same thing as me. And again, I was really lucky to have received that through Lloyds TSB. But unfortunately, the journey ended. I got made redundant. And what I decided to do was utilise those wonderful qualifications that had been, passed. This opportunity had been passed to me, to create a training program for call centres. So I started working initially with call centres on selling over the phone and making sure that the sales was ethical, using your soft skills, and really develop the business to be a profitable business that was selling ethically. And that was very, very successful. Now, as the time went on, unfortunately, my health decreased, and I decided that it made more sense for me to go and work for an employer. So I went to work in the logistics industry because my husband was in the Royal Logistics Corps in the army. So I decided that that would be the next route for me, and invested in my education within the logistics industry. And what I loved was I worked for a big American company, one of the top 5 logistics companies in the world. And their way of training is more consultative training. So I was a global sales executive for them, ranked 5th in Europe. So it was a fantastic company to work for, and they really invested in me as well. What happened was, and I was working for them all through last year, but you know, when you have something, some adverse experience happen to you, it makes you to evaluate your life. It makes you look at your values. It makes you look at what legacy you're leaving. And like I said, you know, that was a real big kick up the arse for me. And it made me realise that my passion is to teach and to educate. And I needed to do what made me happy. And although I love sales, and you know this, Mike, sales is a buzz, you know, you really, you know, it's such an enjoyable job. Yeah, you have your lows, but you have your highs. And when you have your highs, it's a euphoria. It's, you know, it's awesome. And I love sales, and I'm good at sales. So I decided that, you know, this is the collaboration. This is where sales and Toni come together, and we create a softer approach to sales, more of a consultative approach to sales, and utilising my qualifications as a trainer, as a coach and mentor. You know, I really, you know, have thrown myself into this, and the sales circle is on a speeding train, and we're really going places, and I'm absolutely loving this journey.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. We had a similar sort of background from the sounds of it, because I started out door-to-door sales 16 to 21, did a bit of B2B sort of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday jobs, selling radio advertising, newspaper advertising, mobile phone, least cost routing, you know, mobile phones, different stuff. And then after 2 years, I ended up in a call center because I was getting a lot of points on my license as a rep, traveling around a lot, like, you know, rushing for appointments and stuff. It was just that time when all those fixed cameras started appearing everywhere. So like, after a while, you got to know where they were, but when they first appeared, you didn't know they were there. They just appeared, and they were like, "Oh no, you've done again." So I had like 9 points on my license, and I thought I better get off the road for a while. Because there's no way to be a regional rep rushing around in appointments and not be doing 33, 35 in a 30 zone. It just wasn't possible. So literally I got off the road. I took a telesales executive job, which I thought would be for like 6 months. And I took a 15.5 salary. I was like 5 to 10 grand a year commission. And within 4 months, I was one of the 2 top sellers, and they started the key accounts team with the 4 best sellers in the company. I started in June. The company only started in January. They started with 40 staff, and I was part of the 40 to 50 intake. The next 10, which they had grown to after the first 6 months of going. And so we started the key accounts. They decided to split. They used to target all businesses in the UK, and they decided to split the prospects into SMEs under 10 million and turnover, and then 10 million over turnover. And I was one of the first 4 salespeople with our team leader who were ringing the 10 million plus turnover businesses. And then I was assistant manager to my team leader for 2 years. And that team grew to 7 people in that 2 years, from 4 to 7. And then I thought I wanted management, and I was assistant manager. And I thought my boss wasn't going anywhere. So I just, and I used to take over the team when he wasn't there and that sort of thing. So I thought, I'll go and take one of the teams on the SME floor, because obviously there were 7 teams on the SME floor and only 1 key accounts team. So, because obviously much more smaller companies than there are bigger companies. So I took on a team on the floor, and within 4 months, they decided to replace me with my old boss. So he wasn't best pleased, but they thought I'd do a better job. So I took on the team of 7 people. And at the time, we had a target new business, 300 grand. And with that 7 people, I did 360 in the first year. I did a business plan at the end of the first year on how I would increase that. And we did 680 the next year off the same 7 people. And then the next year I did 960 off the same 7 people. And then they allowed me to take on some more people. So I turned, 7 people doing 300 grand to 7 people doing just under $1 million. And then we decided to take a few people on. So I used to take the best people from Telesales on the SME team and teach them how to do corporate sales. And we started introducing field visits. So we turned quickly the Telesales team into a field sales team. Eventually, it grew into a department of 17 people. There was 12 sales guys, some telephone appointment setters, a couple of telesales people, and some admin. And we were doing 5.7 million, and that was like 8 years later. So similar sort of experience to yourself in that call center, and I was basically the person who trained all of the SME sales guys, and I was the reason I suppose I shined in that place is because I come from a field sales experience into telesales. So so once there were bigger customers who needed to be seen, I used to go out and see them, and I used to take some of the telesales guys with me, teach them how to do field sales, and then we used to, as we all become field sales people who were just doing a bit of telesales, we then used to have to recruit from the telesales people and teach them how to do field sales. So I was very much sort of experienced in teaching people how to change their ways from the bad habits they would learn in telesales, but the good way of doing telesales, but into how to become a much better sort of field salesperson and a solutions-based salesperson. So I've given you a bit of that background history as well, because I think there's potential of us working together on certain situations. But the thing which is interesting now is I think rather than converting people from telesales to field sales, I think there's a big gap in the market converting people from field sales to telesales. Because obviously travel now, people are now selling on Zoom, etc. So selling on Zoom is not telesales or field sales, it's Zoom sales. It's a bit of both. It's a middle ground between the two. So actually, I think there's a gap in the market at the moment for educating field salespeople how to Zoom sales, but also how to do telesales appointment setting to get them onto the Zoom to do the Zoom sales. So maybe we'll have a chat about that later, and there could be a potential for a collaboration on that, plus with a bit of LinkedIn and other stuff which I help people with as well, because that's all part of the new norm now is, you don't have to do telesales for lead appointments for a Zoom. You can also do LinkedIn, or Facebook or various other channels,
Yeah. No, I definitely think there's room for collaboration. I specialize in the phone calls. They call me the queen of cold calling. It's that really is something that I specialize in. And obviously from coming from a call center background at Lloyd's TSB and then going into logistics, which is field sales, and being a global logistics person, I had to travel all over the place, to sell to big corporate customers. These customers are, turning over billions, and when you switch from one to the other, it is such a big transition, and you have to be prepared to open your mind and look at new ways of selling. And what I've taken from my experience is that in actual fact, when you are telesales, when you are using those softer skills to telesale, you actually have a great framework for becoming a field salesperson. Because when an employer is looking for someone for a field sales role, they prefer to take somebody from a telesales background. And I'll tell you for why. Because those people that can sit on the phone all day taking call after call after call are more valuable, because you can teach field sales, you can teach how to go out and visit people, but teaching people to be resilient and be confident on a phone call is tough. And that is why
Yeah, and also to create massive activity or action, you know.
Yes,
So there's a lot of field salespeople who just don't do enough activity or action. They're very good
exactly.
salespeople, but
Yeah,
the roots and the core of telesales people is all about activity, because it's all on the phone and it's all KPI measured, etc. Especially in
yeah,
big environments, they're used to working. You know, they do work. They earn their money.
yeah, absolutely. And when you have those special skills, as I like to call them, when you've got those special skills, you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why I was so successful in field sales, because I have a telesales mindset and
Yeah.
I'm able to sit on the phone all day. And when you have that massive action, when you're able to take massive action, you see results. And the thing that's going on right now, and the thing that people need to be aware of, is that this is telesales is now the new way. You know, online digital lead generation is now the way forward. So it's either going to be, you know, you're going to be finding leads from networking, LinkedIn, as Mike's an expert in LinkedIn. You know, you'll have your Facebook, you'll have your Instagram, you'll find leads from lots of different places. But you know, the telephone is the most cost-effective way to actually get new clients. And once you have those skills, that's it. You're sorted for life. You know, it really will transform the way that you sell going forward. And also on a confidence level, it will boost your confidence. It severely boosted my confidence. You know, I was a very shy girl at school. I was bullied quite severely when I was a young child, and I had a big confidence issue. And being placed on a telephone was terrifying for me, absolutely terrifying. And I didn't know how I was going to get through it. But with the right information and practice, I think that's the key. Practice, 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 and coming prepared. So the key to success is preparation. So if you are prepared in your calls and practice, you will be successful. And that is really where we are right now with COVID, that these skills are so valuable. You need to have these skills right now. And when it comes to, and what you were saying exactly about, you know, it's all about Zoom now. So how do we sell Zoom calls? You know, how do we sell over Zoom calls? Because ultimately you can't see the body language. When we actually look at this video back, our eyes are even pointing in a different direction than what we're looking at. You know, it's very difficult to establish that. So it's all about tone of voice and really being able to fully listen to what they need and looking at, you know, inspiring them to take action themselves. And I think there's a huge market for teaching people to sell on Zoom rather than doing the normal going out and visiting the clients, because a lot of businesses have had to pivot. And I know that the logistics industry has had to pivot, and all the sales calls now have to be done via Teams. So, you know, via Teams, it has to be done via that, because, you know, they do not want to put their employees in danger. So yeah, there is a huge market for it. And you know, we can have a chat about it and see what we can come up with. But you know, I think it's going to add some real value to people's lives by just learning these soft sales skills that we talk about. And that, you know, if you have those skills, like I said before, you know, you're unstoppable. You have the skills to make a huge impact to your business.
Yeah, it's like people say, like, unless you go to a meeting or whatever with a pen and a pad, you're unprofessional. And I've got to the level where I don't need a pen and a pad, because I used to take a pen and a pad and write it down so often that I got to the stage where I just would remember it. I trained my brain, if you like, to to take the information, to listen and to hear and to think and to ask questions about the information you've gained in order to really understand the information that somebody is partaking to you or giving to you, and then actually just to remember it. And because you've got to do a proposal or a present, you've got to do a proposal or a quote or something based on what you've heard. So unless you're actually writing it down in the first instance until you get to a state of remembering, then how can you get the right proposal and the right solution to somebody? So like you said, the 10,000 hours or whatever to become an expert, I can have a conversation with someone. I intently listen to them. I know what they're saying. I'll reiterate what they're saying back to them to make sure I know what they're saying. And then I can remember that in order to be able to provide a proposal or a quote to somebody, based on what it is that we discussed. And most people, they can't remember, excuse me, they can't remember their 4-digit PIN number. You know what I mean? so it is about detail. The solution is in the detail, and actually communication is not an infallible thing. What one person's word and meaning of the word is somebody else's different meaning of that word. So for example, if somebody says, like I do web design or web marketing and different content and stuff, and so somebody's opinion of I want it to look professional or I want it to look slick or whatever their words say, that doesn't necessarily mean the same as what you hear it to mean. So sometimes you've got to have good questioning skills to be able to drill down to people and say, well, when you say you want it to look professional, or you want it to be instant, or you need it to be quick, what does that mean to you? So you've got to drill down a bit,
Yeah, definitely. If you don't listen and take note of what they're saying, but also how they're saying it, and really intently listen to exactly what they're saying and ask them questions to make sure that you have a full understanding of what they're saying. Reiterate, as you quite rightly said, reiterate it back, but it's the key is in the questions. The key is in the questions. How did that make you feel? Tell me more about that. It's all about the questioning skills, and once you have mastered that, and you can build a relationship with someone, whether or not it's over the phone, via Zoom, face to face, it doesn't really matter. The same skills come into play, soft skills come into play. And I think also it's about people can tell if you're not being honest with them. People can tell if you are, after something. It's a horrible thing to say, but there are some salespeople that are out for themselves. There is, and that's been developed from a culture of sales that are always around, and always closing. And we've talked about this before, but there are many movies out there that portray sales in a particular way, and it's created a culture of sales individuals that think this is the way. And we talked about the boiler room, and Ben Affleck, and he's having this his egotistic guys that are all standing together and they're all chanting and we're going to get the best deal and we're going to make all this money, and that created a culture. It's not just that. You've got the Wolf of Wall Street. There's many movies out there, and you have these salespeople that really have lived in that in that way of selling, because once upon a time that's the way it was. And we need to bring people into the new world. We need to bring people into how it works now, not how it worked in the 60s. This is how it works now. And there's still, unfortunately, sales trainers out there that are delivering these really, crazy training programs.
Archaic and barbaric manipulation techniques.
Absolutely, and you hear it all the time. You hear it all the time. If you look at sales forums, there's these companies that are not being ethical in their approach and they're ripping people off, and it's horrible. And if people can tell if you're not being honest, and as long as you come authentic and real, people will connect with you as long as you're authentic and real.
Yeah,
And
those manipulative salespeople, a lot of them think they're smart, they think they're clever, and they think, actually, I'm going to pull the wool over your eyes, or I'm going to, I'm going to con you, or I'm going to manipulate you into having something you don't even want or need, and all of that. And I always think, like, those people, they're so clever that they're dumb, but they think they're clever. They're just disillusional. And so the days of maybe being able to manipulate people like you used to be able to are gone, because the buyers are much more sophisticated, much more well versed in buying and understanding sales tactics, etc. And so those guys, they you can sometimes get away with manipulating someone once and pulling the wool over their eyes, or convince them they need something that they don't. But then, over time, they get to understand what happened, and then you've just lost the relationship forever. And actually, the real smart sales is all about provide people what they want, give them more value than they expected, do better for them than they ever, could have got anywhere else. And what you'll have is a long-term relationship that will grow and make you a lot more money in the long term. So those people who think they're being clever are just dumb. There's nothing else to say, really.
They really are, but what the point is, the reason, what's happened is that, people assume that that's what salespeople are. They assume that, they fall into that category. So they're skeptical of anybody that's talking about sales or trying to sell to them, because they feel like, oh God, you're going to try and rip me off, or you're going to try. They've got some negative association with sales, and it's either been created by having an experience themselves where they've been taken advantage of, or in most cases it's about a parent or a loved one that is much older, that has had an adverse effect where they've been missold to. I've had this. My granddad, this was Talk, and he signed up to Talk, and he didn't even know what he was signing up for. He's an elderly old man, and he didn't know what he was signing up for. And they start taking all this money out of his bank, and it was just simply because he walked out of Asda and this guy stopped him. And because he was elderly, he didn't understand what was happening, gave all his details, and was missold. And and that infuriated me. And those situations happen all the time. And I think that anybody that joins the sales circle needs to be ethical in their approach. They need to be authentic, they need to be real, and they need to be selling something that's going to add real value to a client. That's the kind of community that I'm trying to build, because I won't stand for that. I won't stand for that 1 second. It's all about looking after the client. Client is number one. And if you look after your client, your sales look after themselves. As long as you look after your clients, you don't have a problem with hitting your targets. You can always go back for business. And one of the other beauties is testimonials. You work with a client and you give them everything you have, and you will get the best testimonial. I had it today. When we were on the interims call, I nearly cried. I'd got a video testimonial, and I was just totally, it really touched my heart. And I just felt like, it's all worth it. Everything that I do is worth it. That these people need the education, and they appreciate the education. And, that is the kind of salespeople that we want to have in the marketplace. This is what we're driving for, that everybody is selling in a way that's a softer approach that adds real value.
How do people get in touch with you if they're interested in joining the sales circle or interested in any of your training?
Yeah, so if anyone is interested in joining the sales circle, you can go onto Facebook and just type in the sales circle, and it will come up. Once you've joined the page, I will email you, and we'll have a chat, and we'll invite you to the group, the sales circle group. Okay, so that will be the process to follow. Then in terms of any training at the moment, I have a developer working on my academy, which I'm really excited about. You guys are going to love this. So my academy will have just shy of 60 training courses on it. You'll be able to educate yourself at your own pace. There'll be workbooks included with each training course. It is on a monthly subscription, but it's a fantastic way to educate yourself in sales and business. And there's more information to come within the Sales Circle. So you, if you can just, if you want to email me, it's at the moment, it's join the sales. I'm just waiting for
you just froze then, so you want to say that again? You just froze, so you want to say that again?
Yeah, oh, sorry. Join the Sales Circle at gmail.com if you want to send me an email, or just go onto Facebook, type in the Sales Circle, it will come up, just click on it, join the group, and you will receive a welcome email, and we'll have a chat and get you enrolled into the private group of the Sales Circle.
Brilliant, brilliant. I would love to keep chatting with you about sales forever, but I got another call I have, so I think we'll have to have another one. Perhaps when you are ready to launch the academy. When will that be ready to launch?
The end of September. So I'm going to launch it for the 1st of October.
Okay. Well, you know, we were talking about potential collaboration. Maybe we could talk about that next time, about what that looks like, or maybe in a pre-chat before we go live at the next call. Or if you want to give me a ring to talk about it another time. But I'm going straight into another call now. But also, I could potentially contribute some content for your academy, you know, and look at doing something there on the online, you know, LinkedIn and social media and, you know, Zoom
really
and networking as well, you know.
Yeah, we'll have a chat about that separately. But this has been awesome, Mike. Thank you so much for your time. And I'll see you on the Intrabiz calls. Yeah,
brilliant. And obviously I'll engage more with the Sales Circle. I've introduced myself, but I'll engage more as and when I can. I'm just really busy at the moment creating content in so many different places.
No, that's absolutely fine. You know, we want to try and get as many members as possible. So, you know, Mike, if you know professional sales professionals or business owners that you feel would benefit from the Sales Circle, please invite them. You know, I welcome all of my members to invite people that they recommend and that, you know, they've worked with and they know are, you know, really exciting companies that people need to hear about. So let's get this the movement going, and I look forward to seeing everyone on the Sales Circle, and we'll have some great fun doing some training with you guys.
Brilliant. All right then. Well, thanks a lot for coming on the podcast and the YouTube channel and sharing information about your exciting journey. And I look forward to the next time we get to catch up.
Lovely. You take care, Mike. Bye.
All the best. Bye-bye. Bye. Right. Nothing else left for me to say now other than have a great day. I know I will. And thanks very much for listening. Cheers. Bye-bye.